Today we're going to look at slope and similar triangles on a line. I want you to notice we've got two triangles drawn here. We've got one that is showing line AC, and we have one that is showing line CE. And my question to you is, are those really different lines? Is the slope of those two lines really going to be different? Now let's start out with finding the slope of line AC, and we're simply just going to use our rise over our run to start with, like we've talked about. So for line AC, we have a rise of 1, 2, 3, and a run of 2. Okay, so let me move this up a little bit. Oh, look, that goes way off my chart. Is that going to move backward? Yep, kind of is. Okay, so we have the slope of 3 over 2, and I hope you're realizing that our slope is going in a downward trend. So that is a slope of negative 3 over 2. Now let's go back for just a second. The next thing I want us to note is what are the coordinates for point A and for point C? What are the coordinates for that? What are your X and your Y values? So for point A, you should notice that the coordinate is -3, 6. And for point C, the coordinate is -1, 3. Okay, so I just point this out because I want us to also look at our slope formula. We know that if we're going to find the slope, we're going to subtract our y's on top, our x's on bottom. I'm going to call this first ordered pair x1, y1, and the second one x2, y2. And so to find the slope of this line, I'm going to say 3 minus 6 over -1 minus -3. And so I'm hoping that we're seeing that this is the exact same thing as -3 over 2. Here I would get -3. On the bottom, yes, I would also get -3 over 2. Sorry, I'm having a little trouble writing because I'm writing with my fingers. So there we have it. There we have the slope. Okay, so now let's look at line CE and our triangle that goes with line CE. So if I count my rise, let me move this back down just a little bit. If I count my rise, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And my run is 1, 2, 3, 4. So my rise over the run would be 6 over 4. And again, I hope you're noticing that that is a negative slope. So it would be -6 over 4. Okay, so let's do the same thing that we did with line AC. Let's write down some coordinates. And I've kind of run out of room here, so I'm going to write it over here to the right. So point C, we already knew was -1, 3. And then point E is 3, -3, right? Those are the coordinates. And so again, I'm just going to treat the first ordered pair as x1, y1, and the second one as x2, y2. And so if I were going to use my slope formula, I would say -3 minus 3 over 3 minus -1. And so that would still give me -6 over 4, which is what we got when we did our rise and our run. Now, I hope some of you, so the next question says, what do you notice about the slope of each line? So I hope that I purposely didn't take the slope of CE and I purposely didn't reduce it. But does -6 over 4 reduce to -3 over 2? And if you're not sure, remember you can type it in your calculator in the fraction form and it will reduce it for you. But what I hope you're seeing is that the slopes are the same. I hope you realize that maybe from the very, very beginning. the slopes are the same. And what we have here between these two numbers is we have equivalent, whoops, that's an A there, equivalent fractions. We have equivalent fractions, okay? So I'm going to go back to the picture. And so what I want you to notice, and we've talked about this, is it doesn't matter where you draw your right triangles on the line. I think sometimes they like to trick us with problems like this. If we have a line, and the line is line AE, that is the same line. AC is just a part of line AE, and CE is just a part of line AE. But they all, any part of that line has the same identical slope. And so that's the key thing that we need to get from this and understand from this is that, and hopefully, and again, I'm having trouble writing, no matter where, I think I can go here, no matter where you draw the line or draw the triangles, no matter where you draw the triangles, they have the same slope. Okay, that is the really important thing. They are equivalent fractions. And what you're going to notice here down at the bottom in these multiple choice parts is that all of these are being represented with proportions. Okay, remember a portion just says that two ratios, that's what slope is that two ratios are equal. That's just showing our equivalent fractions. We know that -3/2 is equal to -6/4. They're equal. They are proportional. Okay, so take a minute, make sure you have everything written down. Pause the video if you need to. And so I want you to look at how we set up the slope with our slope formula for AC and CE. And I want you to look at our answer choices because this is the complicated part. And so I think that the first ratio or proportion is supposed to represent line AC, and the right side is supposed to represent CE. And so what I want you to look at them, and I want you to decide which ones are right, which one's right, and which ones are wrong. And I want you to think about why they're wrong. I want you to think about why they're wrong. On A, did you notice that 3 and -1 were actually from the same ordered pair? And so they've put X's and Y's together. And so that's why that one is wrong. B is actually looking pretty good. So let's skip that one. Let's look at C. C, they have -1 minus -3. Well, again, the points for AC were 3, -1, and -3, 6. And so what they've done is they've put an X and Y together, but from different ordered pairs. So C is wrong. And then D, I think we have X's and Y's together on this one, and so it's wrong. Sometimes they flip it, they put the X's on top, the Y's on bottom, and so we just have to really pay attention to what's going on. And so B would be an example of how we did our slopes up here. Whoops, everything's moving. How we did our slopes up here. Okay, I know it's kind of messy, so you can see our slope formulas, And that's what this bottom is telling us. Okay, so make sure you have everything written down, and when you are done, glue your notes into your notebook and complete your assignment.